All right. How are you doing today, Angry?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today, Gretchen?
I
You're
am doing
looking lovely as ever.
I am doing fabulous. Thank you so much. All righty. So this is episode 3 of Rules of Nerdquisition. Everyone, you can see that Rules of Nerdquisition. Thank you for joining. I am
Mhm.
Gretchen. This is my friend and cohort and accomplice, the Angry IT nerd. Say hello, Angry.
Hello, Angry. How's everybody doing today?
And we are live on Twitch right now under the Villains View. We will also be airing the episodes on Spotify, audio only. We should have 3 or 4 episodes in the bag before I start posting them on Spotify, just so we have a little bit of backup in case we need to take a week off. So starting next Saturday, I'm not sure what day of the week I'm going to do it on yet. Maybe Wednesdays. Start releasing 1 episode a week on Wednesdays. So in the
Okay.
audio format, but we have it on Twitch if you guys want to see our lovely faces and come chat about Star Trek. But yeah, this is episode 3 of Nerds of Inquisition or Rules of Nerdquisition. Nerds of Inquisition. Okay, well that sounds
So, well,
ominous.
that's a little intense.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit.
So,
And
Charlie X.
Charlie X is today's episode, which is oddly enough, this is the second episode with Kirk after the failed first pilot. And we'll get into this next show. But the third episode with Kirk in it, which we'll review next week, where No Man Goes before was actually the second pilot and was filmed first. Why they aired it third, I don't know, but you'll see when we get to the pretty crappy
Hmm.
uniforms they have in the next episode.
No,
And
that
we
was just probably just at the time there was always just episodes that was always just aired out of order. So just not, it just is what it is.
so leading into this episode, you have a very interesting theory that maybe Charlie X is not the
Yes,
title it should be.
I'm saying that Charlie X should instead be called Charlie Q
Charlie Q.
because my reasoning being is because Charlie X seems to be, to me, the whole basis of Q and the Q continuum. Because Charlie's abilities are the same as what kind of what Q can do. Of course, we haven't seen him try to teleport or anything like that, but as far as anything else what Q can do, sending people away, doing this, doing that,
Make them
it's
go
very
away.
Q-like. It's very Q-like.
Make them go away. That's something that we hear
Yeah,
over and over and over again in this episode. That's like his catchphrase. I will make you go away.
yeah.
Oh,
And then gets a little weird look on his face, like, like if you were 6 years old and you were just mad at somebody, you just, and then,
I come prepared. You know this, right? I come prepared.
of course, they just, and then he's gone.
I mean, Q is just like snap, but not
But
Charlie.
I'm
Charlie likes
thinking,
to wow,
but yeah,
he's
that's what I was
thinking hard
thinking.
about that. He's thinking hard about it.
Hmm. But that's what I was thinking is that he was kind of the basis of Q.
Oh, sure. I
And
bet you there was definitely some, even though they have their own kind of I guess, backstory for him, including another alien
mhm,
species in this episode. It certainly was a precursor, I would think, for the creative teams that looked back on the original Trek and said, hey,
said, hey, we have this one character here. What now? Let's say we just kind of expand on that a little bit more. And then we have
absolutely,
Q.
absolutely. Between that and, like I mentioned the other time, the Squire of Gothos, another very Q-like character,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
also a very fun episode. Who, by the way, I'll have to look it up. I can't remember, but the actor who plays the Squire of Gothos in that episode also plays one of the 3 main Klingon commanders in the original series. You had Kang, Koloth,
All
and
right.
Kor, and I don't remember which one he was, but he was one of them. So, but
Cool. 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 Yeah, because everybody was a Klingon.
everybody was a Klingon. There are lots of famous Klingons. So I have to have an episode of famous Klingons because there's plenty.
Oh yeah.
We've got a whole
So
series there.
so
All
this is a
right.
fun episode. very
These are fun
fun. I
episodes.
loved it. It was so we start out and throw it over to you. So we start out, of course, naturally opening up into the Enterprise.
We are in the Enterprise. Yes, we are. And we have a couple of starship captain and his first officer dropping off Charlie, a young boy that they found living alone on a planet whose people died when he was 5. Somehow he mysteriously survived all that time on his own. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you saw it too, Angry. These two Starfleet people, they're both
Yeah.
nervous and sus.
Yes. So it's immediately you're just like, wait, why are they scared? And what's this kid? Why are they scared of this kid? Because immediately, they're just like, hey, so we did good, right, Charlie? And it kind of gives you that whole air of, hey, we did good, we did right, we're we're good boys, right? We did good. And immediately, like just like you said, it's like, why? Something's off.
Something is
And then
definitely off
we get the opening with Kirk wearing the fabulous V-neck
with the little wraparound
with the little
insignia.
wraparound, the fabulous V-neck wraparound that so that the Starfleet catalog, the Starfleet Sears catalog.
Well, I like I said, when we get to where no man's gone before next week, I would take the green shirt here, the little wraparound, which I actually kind of like it in a way. Um, is
Well, it's,
much better than like the turtleneck collared sweatshirt coats they're wearing next week. So,
that is true. That is true too.
but
But
this is total '60s pimp right here.
yeah. Oh, no, I'm not doubting that because we've already said that Kirk Kirk can basically do anything that he wants to. Because let's be honest, we don't know how many babies Kirk has around all over the galaxy.
No, we only
And
met one of
obviously,
them, and he didn't last long.
no.
If I found out that Kirk was my dad, I'd be like, I don't even want to meet this dude because that just means I'm dead. I'm done. Something bad's going to happen to me. He's going to be fine, but not me.
Right.
No, no.
Said no, no, no.
His kids. He should just name all his kids like Red Shirt 1, Red Shirt 2, Red Shirt 3. I mean, you're all sacrificial
And then there's
lambs.
just after a while, just stop calling them just one, two, three. Just say just red shirt.
Red Shirt. They all come
Just all
around.
red shirt.
Oh, well, a little
But
backstory, or at least behind the scenes. Charlie Evans, or Charlie X, or Charlie Q, however you want to refer to him, was played by Robert Walker Jr. He passed away in 2019, which gives some longevity, given that a lot of
oh,
co-hosts and guest stars on the show don't make it that long. A lot like we'll talk again next week, but like Gary Marshall, the character in next week's show, that actor didn't
right.
last long. The guy that played Christopher Pike in The Cage, he died fairly young. So, there's a
Yeah, a lot
interesting.
of them they kind of die young. So it's surprising when a lot of them like have the longevity of being, around to like, 2019,
Yeah,
2020,
he
or
he was
if any of them
80,
around. Yeah,
he was 79 or 80. So I mean, Kirk still outlasted him though. I mean, what's Shatner now? 92, 93 years old? I mean,
yeah,
jeez.
he is. He's pushing 100. He's pushing 100,
And he's still as
and he's
fiery
still
as the
and he's
day.
still doing Kurt.
He could absolutely do a movie and still be the Kirk that we know and love. He could do
Yeah.
it. He'd be geriatric Kirk, but I mean, he'd still
Yes.
be. But I could definitely see him as some kind of like ancient Starfleet
Uh,
consultant
I can
or
see him.
admiral or
No, I can see him in like one of the other shows, like a message to this crew of Discovery, or this crew of Voyager, this crew of you know whatever show. So keep it wrapped, keep it tight, and always deny.
Always deny. Well, the crew of the Antares does get away pretty quick, pretty easily. They're like, okay, we're good, right?
So, all
We
right,
did
we're good.
good.
Yeah.
We're gonna go. And
So,
what this is when Kirk mentions they're going to Colony 5, which is where his Charlie's closest relatives are, and Charlie's all excited because there's lots of people, and he keeps interrupting Kirk, and Kirk's getting a little, you know,
yeah, get a little
keep
like
interrupting, kid.
like shut up, kid. I'm talking.
This is Kirk's tough love, tough daddy love episode. So
And so immediately Charlie bonds to Kirk because Kirk is being that authoritarian kind of father figure that he never had. So he attaches to Kirk.
and he's not going to pander to
Mhm.
Charlie, which is another analogy that you had brought up, that Twilight Zone episode with the little boy, and everyone
Hmm.
was afraid of him. And
Yeah,
if they didn't do what he wanted, he punished them.
he'd send him out to the cornfield. Yeah, so immediately, so that's in which I'm thinking that Charlie X is the basis of that character from that episode of the Twilight Zone. So just pretty much like almost all sci-fi comes from Twilight Zone.
Pretty much. Pretty much. No
So
doubt there.
that's all I
So
said. He immediately attaches to Kirk, becomes a father figure, and he's does everything that he can to wanted to impress Kirk, make him proud of him. Just be the good son, so to speak. Until he immediately finds out that Kirk finds out that something's not quite right with Charlie. Not
but
quite right at all.
but then Charlie gets distracted when everybody's favorite personal yeoman
Everyone's
enters the
personal.
scene.
Yes.
Are you a girl? Is this a girl? That whole conversation is
Yeah.
just weird. Kirk smiling awkwardly, Rand smiling awkwardly, and Charlie having a little accident,
It's like,
over
that a
here.
girl? That's a girl? What's going on with me? What? Yeah.
It's
It's
like
all,
it's like that quintessential cartoon character that, like, it's a wolf or something dressed up in ladies' clothes. A
yeah.
man,
Yes. It's almost like you could see him going through puberty right then and there. That's a
right?
girl. That's a girl. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So and that definitely adds in really one of the quintessential focuses of the episode, at least with Charlie, who becomes fascinated with Janice Rand. But before we can get into all the love stories and all of the swooning and the crushing, we got to go to the doctor. Everybody's got to go to the doctor. We got to go talk to Dr. McCoy and get us a little
Of course.
checkup.
Of course, got
Get
to
us a
get
little
checked up.
checkup.
Everybody's go to the doctor first,
Yep. And
because
McCoy brings up the very good point. Like, how the heck did you survive? Just watching
yeah,
videos and eating random plants. We saw how that worked last week, even though it wasn't really a plant that killed Darnell, but
but
you don't
still, it's like, you know, you're out there all alone and just eating plants. You know, nothing tried to mess with you. Nothing tried to kind of unalive you. Nothing. Like
right.
nothing. Like like not even like a rabid chihuahua. I mean, nothing. Like, come on, man. So,
No, exactly. And it does bring up a good point because they do talk about it, especially in Next Generation, how the transporters have like a biofilter, because
hmm
like I said, just look at colonization that happened in America. Europeans came over here and brought all kinds of diseases with them that they themselves were long immune to, that the
right,
Native Americans had never been subjected to. And then they start getting sick over things that, the colonizing people from Europe didn't get sick by anymore. And you would think, being on that planet for a long time without that kind of biofiltering, I mean, you don't know. I mean, I worry more like in real space exploration. I'm not worried about aliens and stuff like that. I'm worried about beaming down to a planet and getting a cold and dying from
right.
some
Because
alien bacteria.
yeah, because you don't know what you're getting into. You don't know whether or not if this one plant that you may happen to kind of get a slight scratch from could be something that will give you, instant poison.
Right.
you don't know. Especially
Look
if
at
like especially if you go down with an atmosphere that's, it's says it's a class M, it's breathable atmosphere, but still you don't know if there may be something that's in the atmosphere that will damage your lungs or something, your body over time. So even though it may be
exactly.
breathable, that doesn't mean it's still any less dangerous than
It-
just having a cold, the viruses for a cold or whatever, just floating through the air.
yep. And look at you know, H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds when it was broadcast over the radio and people actually thought it was a real invasion. But
Yeah,
that aside, how did that story end? The
yeah, it
Martians
ended
contracted
because
bacteria on Earth that we were long immune to,
right,
and
because they breathed soon as they came in, they breathed the air, they weren't immune. They didn't have that immunity built up.
no,
So it was standard reason. I mean, that would be the exact same thing. So it's like, yeah, how did you survive? Like, by all accounts, you should not be here. So it's like,
absolutely. So interesting thoughts, but again, we're talking about a show that was really leaps and bounds beyond its era, especially predicting a lot of the technology we have now that they used then, but at the same
oh
time,
yeah,
still being restricted to the 60s as evidenced back in last week's episode where they're still believing that salt
hmm
is needed for people in hot air and environments, which
yeah,
don't do that.
which
This is a disclaimer to
yeah,
our viewers. If you are in Death Valley wandering through the desert, drink water, don't eat salt. Just
this.
I'm not a doctor, but just saying.
So I'm not a doctor,
Just
just I just have some common sense.
some common sense. Right, right. So we got Charlie exploring now. He's wandering through the Enterprises, the dude putting the pole down into the thing, and he's just like, oh,
He's all
climbing
excited, kind of seeing
climbing
what's
up in
going
the
on because, hey, this something new.
right, climbing up in the
He's,
Jeffries tubes with the engineers while
mhm.
they're working and all that stuff.
Yeah, I get it. And I get it going through the whole seeing excitement of everything like that, and something new, and you never seen this before. You're fascinated, you're curious, you're excited. Even though this one crewman, he's just like, oh God, this crap again. Oh, another day of this. But see,
How many times do I have to stick this pole down this hole in the floor?
oh my God, this again. Every time the pole comes out the hole and I got to stick it back in. And so
Oh
we don't know
boy.
this for the crewmen. It's like this normal everyday stuff for him. It's like, stupid warp core again. He keeps it breaking down. I don't know what the hell's going on with it.
Looked to me like
But
he
to
was
him,
looked to me like he was snaking a drain. Like, dang it,
yeah.
all
But to
this
him,
air from
it's
the
like,
sonic
yeah.
showers.
He's just snaking. He's like, I don't know what's going on with this. But to him, it's like, hey, this is the coolest thing he's ever seen. And so
It
I
it
get that. I
it
get it
is
because, hey,
absolutely.
you've been surrounded by nothing but just plants and trees and whatever animals that could come across, whatever you see. Then all of a sudden you're seeing stars and you're seeing distant planets and you're seeing the warp core, you're seeing Jeffries tubes, you're seeing, yeah, I get it. Totally get it.
But none of it compares to that
But none
of a girl.
of a girl.
And while he's exploring the Enterprise, Rand comes along and he's got a present for her. He's got a present. I guess it was perfume. Was that what it was? It was like perfume or something. I
Or
don't know.
something like that.
But it was her favorite. Was her favorite. Which immediately leads into another great scene because we have to this is where it gets really ironic. Oh, where are we at? I know it's here. There we go. Oh, nope, that's not it. Nope. What's going on here? Let's try this again. The booty smack.
Oh yeah.
The booty smack.
The slap.
because he witnessed the one engineer do it to the other guy, kind of like the way coaches and athletes do
Yeah.
each other,
So,
But
the whole good game, good game, good.
yeah, exactly. Good job cleaning that hair out of them and sonic shower drains. Good job, man. Did good. I'll see you tomorrow when they get clogged again.
So yeah, and then just reach out, just ah.
But then of all the people, after Rand gets over her shock, of all the people, she's like, maybe you should tell Captain Kirk what you did and let him explain to you. Oh, perfect example.
Oh, great,
Let's go to
great.
Captain Misogyny and tell him why you can't smack a girl on the behind.
Yeah, the first day, SmackDown Beyond. Hey, that would be instantly that's you say something to Kirk, that's first thing in his mind. Slap you one on the butt.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is the wrong person to go to, especially about, sexual harassment.
It absolutely
That's
is.
the
Give me
wrong
just one
person to
moment.
go to.
Wrong person. Give me just one moment. Right back.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. And we'll
So,
get
okay.
we'll get more into that because it's not the first time in this episode that Kirk has to educate Charlie on how to be a good man versus
Yeah. Just being him. Oh my gosh.
he even uses the same phrase when he smacks her on the behind. He's like, good deal, friend.
Because of course,
He's just playing it
that's
all. I
what
mean,
he's seen. That's what he's seen, and so he emulates it because he hasn't been around people. He's been in isolation for, we're gonna assume that because of his height and everything. We're gonna say he's 16.
probably about 16. Because you got to imagine because later in the episode, Kirk mentions something about the age difference between the two. So I don't know how
Yeah.
old Rand was, but I mean, if she's in her mid 20s and a career woman at this point, she
Yeah. So,
even if she's only a couple years older, she's going to be far more mature just based on
right.
her life experience than he will.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if they were like a year apart, because she has been in just social situations from a child up until, in Starfleet. She's been through a lot more emotional, situations, so she's able to kind of handle that better. Whereas with him, because he's been in isolation for however long he's been in isolation, he hasn't been in those situations, so he doesn't know how to deal with those emotions, or he doesn't know how to kind of regulate them. He doesn't know how to process it.
No, absolutely. No idea how to interact with other human beings because doesn't have
Yeah.
any. Which is interesting because this next scene when we jump to the bridge, we got Kirk and Spock are talking and stuff like that, and they bring up the possibility of the Thasians because it's the alien species that
Hmm.
once lived on that planet Thasus.
Yeah.
About whether they're myth or rumor. And let me tell you, Angry, I decided to go down that rabbit hole between Thasians and Q.
Okay.
Okay. Are Thasians Q? Are Thasians the adversaries of Q? Are they
Okay.
offshoots of the Q? I mean, what would happen if the two fought each other? Oh my gosh. I mean, that rabbit hole went deep. It went deep. I mean,
Now I'm
really
kind of
deep.
tempted to go down there myself and just
Which
to
which
explore.
makes me
You know,
wonder, you go back to the episode title, which is Charlie X, maybe there's a whole different races of Q, and they're all named after different letters of the alphabet. And these are the
actually,
X's,
I mean, hey, that wouldn't be so far, too far-fetched.
not in Star
Because I
Trek world.
mean,
No,
now in Star Trek, because I mean, what we could be looking at is one of the possible universes in Star Trek, and that one, instead of having Q, they have X. So they have the Talasian continuum, or or if they want to call it the continuum, or just keep it at the legends, or the X continuum. So they have X, or
They
in
have
next
X.
gen have Q.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's interesting to see where that goes because it's well, I'll let you dive in that rabbit hole and find out. But yeah, it just goes so many different directions. It's like, but that's the beautiful thing about Star Trek is that there's so many fan theories and ways that you can really tie stuff together, whether it's considered canon or not.
Yeah.
So
And the great thing is that because it could all be true and it could all be false at the same time.
it could be. And
So
this I'm going to get a little irritated because I'm going to talk about Star Trek Online again, and I'm not getting paid for it, by the way. Star Trek Online,
so
Gearbox, hello. But anyway,
Star Trek Online,
an
hit us up.
interesting thing about it, a lot of the focus and a lot of the missions I've been playing is with the mirror universe. And you get to see some of those variations because in the mirror universe they have Borg,
Hmm.
but they have the Borg kingdom, not the Borg collective. It's ruled by a king, it's not ruled by a queen, and they're just a very different variety of Borg.
Yeah.
So very
So
cool stuff. Very cool stuff. So I mean,
so
and
Star
that's
Trek Online, Star Trek Online, hit us up. Paramount Plus, hit us up.
yep, hit us up. We'll get more interesting in time, I promise. We're working on good things. But who doesn't want to watch two awkward people just talk about Star Trek? I mean, come on.
I know, right?
God, sort of been waiting for it.
That's a $1 million idea.
$1 million idea.
Yeah, just
And
we just don't want to go to a Comic-Con and don't want to
mm,
say the wrong word because then, well,
yeah.
if we're gonna be running,
Oh no, I didn't have a picture of that one. Oh well. The next scene we get to is the rec room because after this scene where Charlie gives her the little playful pat on the butt, she's like, I'm off at 1400. Come meet me in rec room. I think it was C on deck 15 or something. We won't
hmm
get into that because there's a lot of speculation over how many decks a starship actually has.
is
But
I don't know. I'm not the design engineer.
no, and we'll not talk about Star Trek 5 when the Enterprise has 82 decks, but that's besides the point. In continuity, just a little bit. Just a little bit. So we get a little bit of Spock strumming his lyre in Rec Room
Yeah.
C. Hora gets a little song and dance jig going, and
So we get a little bit of we
and
see a
she
little
was
bit of their talents, kind of outside of Starfleet, of what they can do, kind of
and
say,
Nichelle Nichols was
oh,
always a performer. She was a singer, she was a dancer, she was an actress. So, you know,
yeah. And
why
so,
not?
and a lot of times they would like do spots like that just for her, just so she could, kind of sing, so she
Absolutely.
could show that she could sing, and she could show that she could, has have talents other than, communicating communicating with Klingons and
Which is funny for a linguist who, after she finishes her first song, she goes into another song. And this song is about Spock. And she says, the crewman and Satan's guys. Like it starts talking about his eyebrows and his ears and how he looks like the devil. And Spock's just over here, just kind of like got that
say,
smug look on his face, like,
oh, let's see, it's a great song. Hmm. Is she referring to me?
because he almost rolls his eyes first when she first
Yeah,
starts singing, but then he kind of gets into it. He kind of just gets that smug, that look that only Spock can make. That just like I'm bigger, I'm faster, I'm stronger, and I'm smarter, and I play this little hand guitar thing, weird, whatever.
says Chelsea. I'm Spock.
But we can't, she's apparently very insulting and all. Well, she wasn't really insulting when she started singing about Charlie, did she? She was just saying, he's just this special person aboard our ship
No,
now, and
she wasn't. I don't really remember saying anything insulting. She was just saying that he just seems special. or I wouldn't really say I'm not quiet, maybe, but definitely definitely special because she knows that he was in isolation for so long, so he's not normal by our definition of what we say normal is.
No, no, absolutely. But Charlie isn't having any of it. So he makes that voice go away.
Yeah,
And she's just like,
and then
And then we get
so
card
because
tricks. He's like, I don't like singing. Let's do card tricks instead.
so yeah, and then we just find out that that's just not all of what Charlie can do,
Oh, yeah.
and just making people go away, lose their voice. Oh,
Oh, and it gets worse when he just starts turning into a petulant child later on in the episode, too. But I didn't realize until watching this again recently that apparently it's close to Thanksgiving. Um, I don't really celebrate that holiday anymore, given its, you know,
given what you
undesirable.
what we've known about it now.
Right. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't know about this in the 23rd century. So, but anyway, Kirk is like, look, I know we can't have turkey, but at least can you try to make the sensitized meatloaf look like turkey or taste like turkey or
Or
something?
something like just something. Kind of help me out, man.
Help me out, man. Help me out. Oh, but while he's discussing that, they got to get to the bridge, and Charlie's like, let me come with you. And, let's not do that. And this is right after Kirk is struggling to define misogyny to Charlie to say,
Yeah,
you, you,
it's like, well,
you,
misogyny. It's a well, it's a who.
yeah,
It's almost like
there's no good way to hit a woman speech.
yeah. It's
Okay.
like how do I tell him that misogyny is like being like me, but not being like me?
Exactly. Do as I say, not as I do. That's
Right.
the Kirk philosophy. That's the Kirk philosophy. But we get a distress call, and Kirk is called to the bridge. And fortunately, I think he's relieved he doesn't have to continue that conversation. But
Yeah,
Charlie
we get
just
a
has to tag along.
has to tag along, of course. Kirk Glad got saved by the bell. Charlie had to tag along, of course, because Daddy's going to work. It's
Yep.
bring daddy. It's bring your kids to work today. So
Bring, bring your cue to work day.
bring your cue to work today. Yes. And so they move into the bridge, and then
We're getting a distress call from the good old
yeah.
Antares, but it cuts off mysteriously. Gee, I wonder what happened. It's almost like they
Oh,
it's almost like they went
oh.
away.
It's like
Hmm.
and I wonder how that happened. And then we find out that Charlie can not only make just one or two people go away, he can make whole ships. Just poof.
Although he actually just made a part of it disappear, though the ship blew like a part that was like a warp plate. He said it was damaged or something, and he said the ship was going to blow up anyway, but he just made that plate go away.
Yeah, he just yeah.
And then that's when
Said it was
Spock
gonna blow up
detected all.
anyways, and so he just kind of like, yeah, it was gonna blow up anyway, so I mean, I didn't do anything bad.
Yep. And
What?
Spock detects the debris, and we learn the fate of the Antares. The Antares is gone. So sad day for Captain Randall, whatever his name was. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. He's dead. He should have been wearing a red shirt.
True.
Which makes me wonder why they actually made Command wear red shirts in Star Trek: The Next Generation. But that's another story for another topic for another time.
Oh no. I want to say it's because of the red shirt stigma that was placed in the original one, so they were trying to break that in new gen, in the next gen, I mean.
That's fair.
I
That's fair.
think.
That's
But,
fair. It's a good possibility, a good speculation. Anyway, I don't know if we'll ever know
I
for
don't know if
sure.
how true it is.
Or
But
if I just
hey,
haven't jumped down that rabbit hole yet, what's the red shirt rabbit hole? Don't do
you're
that.
right.
Oh, but we don't have many different locations in this episode. We had the transporter room at the beginning. We get the rec room a couple times. We get the bridge a couple times. Then we get some hallway corridor scenes and stuff like that. And we're back in the rec room, and Spock just can't seem to beat Kirk playing tridimensional chess, three-dimensional chess. As I
No,
go through the series, I'm seeing multiple times when Kirk is beaten.
hey, well, to his credit, he tries. He tries. To his credit, he tries. But you're going against three-dimensional chess against the Vulcan.
Well, I mean, Spock can't beat Kirk. That's the second time in the series so far, just the first season, that I've seen Kirk beat Spock, and Spock just like, how do you do that? How do you do that? But then
Yeah, because
then Kirk says, Charlie, sit down and play. And Charlie sits down, and Spock whips him in like two moves.
yeah. So of
Like,
course,
boom, bad idea.
and the
Checkmate.
checkmate. This game is stupid, and you could almost see that he got that kind of temper tantrum of
I'm taking
this
my
is
phone. I'm
stupid.
going home.
This is stupid. I don't want to play anyways.
He just
And then yeah,
melts the chess pieces. Most normal kids on a temper tantrum would just knock it on the floor or something,
yeah, but
But no,
no, not him.
he's got to he's got
You
to
know,
melt the chess
if I
pieces.
can't win, nobody's going to win ever. Everything gone.
Oh,
But
but
Charlie,
it's
Charlie, Charlie, man.
Charlie.
Charlie, my man.
Uh, can't play chess. Can't leave Rand alone.
They got
Isn't this when Rand introduces him to another yeoman in the hallway? Someone, yeah, the
yeah,
girl in the
tries
blue
to
shirt.
someone kind of closer to his age.
Right, right. And then
But
and then he comes back with this after he's rude to her, and the girl leaves. Does it like, well, maybe somebody wants me. You know, like, that was like not very
and he goes,
professional there, honey.
so not really, this what we're doing. That I'm trying to set you up.
And then Charlie's like, the other girls just aren't like you. You smell like a girl. Oh.
So,
Whoa.
yeah,
Whoa.
all
Did,
right.
did
Look
that
here,
other
man.
what did that other
So,
girl smell like? Like rotten bananas? I don't know.
like she smell like a obviously.
Charlie's hungry. Charlie's hungry. Creep factor to 10. Which is definitely true because we get to a point where Rand on the bridge is imploring Kirk, like, you gotta
So
get this kid off
do
me.
something.
Do
Do something.
something, man.
Please do something.
Do
And I
something.
get it because hey, I understand how awkward it is for her, because she wants to be nice about it. She doesn't want to hurt his feelings, but he's pushing her to the point where she's gonna have to.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to. She's trying to get everything that she can do and everything that she possibly can to deter him. So he'll say, you know what, it ain't worth it.
Ain't worth it. Gotta go to Big Daddy now. And get him involved.
It's just like
Oh
that,
yeah.
yeah. Gotta go to Big Daddy. And it's just like, do something.
Right, right.
Do something.
Exactly. Which sets off a whole interesting series of scenes in this episode. I mean, we get Charlie in Kirk's quarters. Kirk's just kind of telling him about not really the
Said
birds and the bees,
trying
but the
to, yeah, trying to talk to him about the birds and the bees, but kind of, hey,
do we have
here's
to
the
come back
thing.
to lesson Honey Bunny? Be cool.
Yeah.
Be
So
cool, man.
just know this, there's certain relationships that are cool and certain ones that are not. relationship with you and her, not cool.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, Kirk gives some good advice. He's like when he says like there's a million things in this galaxy that you can have, and there's a million things that you can't have. And my hot
Hmm.
blonde yeoman is one of the things you can't have.
Yeah,
It almost
and
seems like
which
he alludes to something there. And they do that throughout the series. They never, you know, go
I
there, but
kind of go all out and say, you can't, just I
there's
understand your desires, but
it's almost like Kirk
you-
wanted to say because she's mine or she was mine, like there might have been
yeah, like
interaction with
there's
them
some
at some
kind of
point that they
yeah,
never
but
they
he's trying
allude
to
to
keep
but
it,
never tell you.
yeah, but he's trying to keep it as, it's her body, it's her choice,
No means
but at the
no.
same
All that
time,
fun stuff.
you know him, and it's like, no, you can't have her because I used to be banging her all the time, so you can't do nothing with that. And, and you see what he's trying to say, but you know what he means when he really says it. And it's just,
No, absolutely.
yeah,
It's just, but when all else fails and you can't get it out, let's go to the gym and fight it out.
yeah,
Let's
that's
go to the gym.
perfect way, perfect way to get out of all of the everything, all out in the open
Absolutely. And I just want to say, cool red tights there, Kirk. Really like that. A little insignia down on the hip there, and we're gonna do a little MMA today. So
with the black socks
the blacks
and with the tight spandex.
tight, tight. I mean, like tight, tight. Like, yeah, okay. I mean, maybe not as appealing as gray span or gray sweatpants, but
But the
wow,
those
nothing to the imagination there, my guy. Nothing to the
tight,
imagination.
those are tight pants.
But I will give Kirk this. Some of the things that he teaches Charlie right at the beginning, like forward shoulder roll or the
Hmm.
rear break fall, stuff like that. Those are very
Yeah,
basic things that you learn first in martial arts. I mean, I remember first couple
yeah,
of training
yeah.
sessions when I was a kid, just that's all I did for session after session was fall down, roll, fall down, roll.
Uh, I hated falling down. I hated falling.
It gets worse as you get
The
older too,
roll,
because it hurts more and more.
rolls. I was fine. I was falling down. I hate falling down. I
I
hate
still
falling
don't want to
down.
do rolls today if I don't have to, because the thing is, it's one thing to do them in a gym when you've got a mat there, but if you're
Yeah,
doing in real life, you're probably in the street, and I don't care
and
how
it's
good
not
your
no.
roll is on concrete, it hurts.
Yeah, I mean even if on just like a carpeted floor, it hurts.
Yep.
Even though you got the slight bit of cushion, it still hurts.
We used to do outdoor training, and my shidoshi would take us to a local park, and there was like a nature trail, a gravel nature trail, and he would make us do our rolls on the gravel, on like the loose gravel, and that's like what that's like doing rolls over like Legos.
Yeah.
Like you just never know where one's going to poke you in the wrong place, and like,
Mm.
oh, that was hard. I was also in my 20s and 30s then. There's a big difference, a couple of decades between then and now. I ain't doing that again.
How you do that now? It's
No.
like, nah, F that.
No, I'm just gonna get a big stick and hope I don't go down to the ground. Come on,
So
come on.
no, nah, F that. Look here. Is there a mat I could put down first?
Right, right. But even with Matt's, Charlie can't help but getting mad because well, try to take me down, Kirk says,
Oh
and then just
yeah.
makes then just makes a
So
fool of him.
even though the mat's all cushioned and is gonna break your fall and not hurt as bad, but still, that's still that pride though. He took a straight shot to the gut in his pride,
Exactly. And
and he couldn't handle that. Couldn't
couldn't
handle being
handle it.
tossed.
Couldn't handle being laughed at either.
No, couldn't handle being laughed at.
And what happened to the guy who laughed at him?
He went to
He
the
went
cornfield.
he went away. Went to the
he,
cornfield.
he out there in the space cornfield.
The space cornfield.
That's where he went.
See ya. You're out of here.
And so, of course, naturally, then that's when we really, I guess, I think that's the first time where Kirk really sees firsthand what he can do.
Hmm.
And he shows something that he sees firsthand instead of just kind of hearing with other crewmen say, he gives weird looks and this, that, and that. But except now he's seeing, oh, he can actually do stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
shush. Let me go let me go talk to Spock and see what we can do about this.
Yeah, exactly. And where'd my notes go? Did I lose one? Oh, we're in the gym. Okay. Yep. And then yeah, we're in the
Hmm.
conference room. So we got Kirk and McCoy and Spock, and they're kind of talking. The Thasians come up again. Are they
Yeah.
real? Um, Spock is basically saying, this dude's gonna screw us all, and there's nothing we can do
Hmm.
about it. So I'm gonna let you deal with it, Kirk.
So, because
Even
I mean,
logic
and
dictates that I step out of the way.
yeah, because logic dictates that I take a small craft and I leave and I let you all take care of this.
Yep, absolutely. And Charlie shows up, and this is where we get our confession, where Charlie says, "Yes, I made the Aries
So
or
yeah,
the Antares go away to the cornfields." You know, it's like you just got a bunch of random people hanging out in the cornfields, and boom, all of a sudden the ship shows up. Like, wow,
yeah,
they
just
got here.
the where's everybody come from?
Like that
And
episode
then
of Parallels of Next Generation when Worf's jumping timelines. At the end, all
yeah,
the enterprises are popping up everywhere. It's like, like, wow, you must have
and
met
then you like
Charlie, huh?
you got the one supremely advanced one, and you get the battle damage, all one that's like 2 seconds away from exploding.
Yeah,
And
that creeped me out too, because you got like this bearded Riker and he's just screaming like, we're not gonna go back. The Borg are everywhere.
yeah,
It's just like,
and it's like, no, we're not going back. It's like, okay, you could see, yeah, he don't care if he has to blow everybody up. He's
no,
not going back there.
no, and I can only imagine what kind of like
Just the
that would be
horror.
a that would be a terrifying universe to live in if the Borg
Yeah.
were just like basically assimilating the entire galaxy unchecked and no one could stop them. But
Yeah.
hey, that sucks, man. That sucks bad.
And so yeah, they're all talking and trying to figure out how to handle it. Charlie shows them what he can do, and then that's when everything fully happens. And then I guess that's Charlie does what I guess he did the same thing we did when he took over what was the ship?
The Antares.
The Antares. Yeah.
Yeah,
Showing
because
this same thing as what yeah.
Kirk doesn't want to take him to Colony 5. He doesn't want him around all of those other people and put them potentially in danger. So he changes course. And then
Hmm.
Charlie's like, nah, I'm going to blow up Uhura's console there and make her burn her hands. And then I'm going to, lock the ship back
So yeah.
on on a path towards Colony 5. So,
He pretty much just said, we are gonna change course, gonna go here. Charles said, I have notes. I think we're gonna go straight to Colony 5. And I think we're going to not only just going to go there, we're going to speed up.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And let's see. Yeah, we're locked to Colony 5. Charlie shows up to the Enterprise bridge wearing a uniform now. He's got the old Star Trek
He's
uniform on,
got
like,
the
oh,
old, yeah.
I'm in command now. You see my badge, I'm in command. So like
It's
he
almost
doesn't
like
actually
it's almost like that's his way of going up there and say, look at me, I am the captain now.
I'm the captain now. Oh, and he exerts it. He exerts it. Like I said, burning a whore's hands. We get poetry Spock. Yeah, or
Hmm.
tiger, burning bright in the darkness of the night, or in the forest of the night.
And he just sits in the captain's chair like, nothing's wrong. Just
And this may be where Kirk starts to hatch his plan because Charlie is starting to sort of overextend himself. He leaves the
mhm.
bridge. That same yeoman he met earlier that Rand introduced him to, she just stops him in the hall. And apparently, you can't even just be nice and ask someone if they're okay without being turned into a space iguana,
Yeah, because
which
that's a thing.
and the only thing that differentiates it from from a normal iguana on Earth versus a space iguana is it makes the same sounds as the little aliens in the episode that we'll review down the road. The one with the witch and the heavy guy with the transmuter in the big
Yeah.
castle, and she turns into the giant black cat and all that stuff. And at the end, when it all goes away, they're just these like little Fraggle looking things, like withering on
Uh-huh.
this rock, making that sound. Like, what the heck is that?
Yeah, I remember that.
But I mean, we certainly can't fault the original Trek for reusing sound effects when like TNG and all those other episodes. How many times have they reused like ship shots from outer space,
Oh,
stuff like
and
that? I mean,
because honestly, they do that to save money
of
because
course.
it's it's a money saving thing because ship's gonna be saved, space is gonna be saved. They just have to kind of, hey, move this image over a little bit this way, move it over a little bit that way.
Sometimes though, it's blatantly obvious. And one of the things that's always bugged me is in Star Trek Six, the Battle of Kittimer, when the Enterprise and the Excelsior destroy Chang's bird of prey.
Hmm.
Bird of prey blows up. There's very distinctly, and you can see it, a piece of the debris that bounces up from the bottom of the screen and flies up. Like the model blew up, a piece hit the table
And
it was
then
over and bounced up off the camera. They reused that same explosion for the destruction of Lursa and Bator's ship in Star Trek Generations, right before the Enterprise
mhm.
crashes on Viridian 3. They used the same exact explosion because I remember the piece that flies straight up.
Yeah,
It's like,
and that's not surprising. It's not surprising to me because
no, no.
hey, why, make a new bird of prey, blow up when you've
Yeah.
already got the footage right here of a bird of prey blowing up?
Well, and those models are not expensive, are not cheap. I mean, they're most of them are, to fill a room. I know the original
Yeah,
Enterprise model is what, like 10, 12 feet long. It's huge. It's huge.
yeah.
Um,
Because
so
so I mean, it's just cheaper to use the same footage rather than trying to film something new because oh, new movie, new bird of prey, new blow up.
right, and we get back to the point that we made last week. Where the set pieces and reuse scenes may be something that people notice, and I do notice it. But Star Trek is about storytelling. It's not
Yeah,
about you. You want big, fantastic space battles? Go watch Star Wars, where
yeah. I
you
mean,
get
you get
dog
the
fighting in space. Go watch Battlestar Galactica, the reboot.
yeah,
Fantastic
absolutely.
series. Love that series. So, I mean, but as far as space combat goes, I mean, we get some great fights throughout the years and in the movies and TV shows, but it's never
But
about that.
this, yeah, but Star Trek has always been more about the story.
Yep. And that's what makes this episode interesting, I think. I mean, yeah, it's a space brat. He's gone full Anakin at this point in the
Yeah,
episode, just being a jerk to everybody, turning, lady into space iguana and and all that stuff. And
slapping
then
other
he's
yeomans on the booty and
yeah, I mean, and
destroying
he's
ships,
like,
kicking people out, just flinging them to wherever they are.
and then he's like, now is my moment. Rand is mine. I'm going to her place. And B,
Mm.
don't you ever lock that door on me. Like he went full domestic abuse. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
you you belong to
he said,
me and
no, you
nobody
belong to
else.
me. You don't close this door. You don't lock this door when I no, yeah. He went full on control, control, abusive, whatever label you want to put on it. That's what he went.
Yeah, and he's getting definitely creepier and creepier at this point. But Rand does the little sleight of hand and clicks on the intercom so that Kirk and
Yeah.
bridge crew can hear what's going on. So Kirk and Spock to the rescue. Do, 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 do. That
And so
doesn't go
they
over.
pop in and immediately get whooped.
Thrown across the room. What Spock's legs are broken. Spock came to
Mm-hmm.
get up. He's like, my legs are broken. Like, oh,
Yeah,
damn.
well, damn, man.
You're actually lucky, Charlie, that you're on a ship of normal human beings that don't have the powers you do, which is why I always say when it comes to my whole shades of Anakin analogy, Anakin was a jerk, but in a school full of other people with all the same powers he had. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
six of them didn't jump him on the playground after Jedi school one day and just beat some sense into him. Like, bro, you don't walk around here talking that way. Because we'll come after you. Beat a
Well,
little
that's
humility into him.
well, then that's I'd say he probably did probably get into a lot of fights then because
Probably did.
so, we don't know.
Yeah.
And
But at
because
this
they're probably like little Jedi kids, so I mean they probably use the Force and like punch him in the gut,
from the other
so
side of the
so
room,
they
they're
won't
just like,
they won't leave any handprints. They just use the
right?
Force and just
No, absolutely. And it's
and so that's
he's off the chains right now. Charlie's off the chains now. He's
Charlie. He's going full full on Charlie. There's no other way to say it.
yeah, because he makes Rand go away here. But I still
Yep.
need you, Kirk. I still need you because this ship is large and complex, and I just can't do it. But she was nobody. She made me do it, which is what a classic line of any domestic abuser will say. She made me
Yeah.
do it. They made me do it. They acted in a way that forced me to react because I do
Yeah.
not
If I
have the
didn't,
self
yeah.
control to not act.
Said if they didn't do this, then I wouldn't have to do that. Said
Right.
if she didn't do this, then I never would have to send her away. If she just did, if she only just did what she was told, if she did what she did what I wanted, I never would have to send her away.
She just would have made that sandwich. She'd still be here.
Said,
That's pretty much their logic there. That's what they think when they
yeah.
when they when they
If
talk about that
they
stuff.
never did ABC, I never would have done XYZ.
Right. But he's not having any of it. They try to confine him in security. He makes the wall
It's a
disappear.
just phew.
And then we got his like this is Charlie's version of the attack on the Jedi Temple. Yeah, he's walking down the hallway. He's just walking past random people like, I don't like the way you look. Boom, you're an old woman. And she's like, Crin's
Yeah.
like all ancient. Or then the people laughing around the corner, no laughing. And then all of a sudden the faceless woman comes around like,
Like,
full Matrix stuff going on here.
like what the hell, man? It's like Charlie,
What good is
bro,
a
you can't do this, bro. What's wrong with you?
he went full Agent Smith. It's like, what good is a phone call if you can't speak?
Yeah.
What good is laughing if you have no facial orifices? Okay. He's like, you're laughing. I don't even like the fact that you got eyeballs, so we're getting rid of those too.
So no, I don't like that. I don't like, everything you've got there. I don't like it.
Gone. Get out of here. Good luck breathing. At least Space Iguana Lady's gonna be okay, but
Yeah. At
you
least the
can't breathe.
iguana lady's gonna be fine. At least she could breathe.
Right?
Now what? Now what is she gonna eat? I don't know because there's no iguana food here.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know about space iguanas, but Earth iguanas just eat like lettuce and tomatoes and veggies and things, celery and stuff.
Oh
So
well, yeah, well they got
I
that.
guess I guess if you got some veggies on board in the
Well, they got
preserved
that
stores,
because
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, just last week, Rand
They had to,
was salting
yeah, because
Sulu's celery and eating it before giving it to him. Okay.
all right, so yeah, makes sense. At least she fine.
Makes sense. But now is time to enact a plan. Now is time to enact a plan. And that is to let's turn everything on.
To yeah,
I'm
kind
going
of
to turn all the
overwhelm
lights
him.
on.
And I get it,
Right.
they want to overwhelm him, so he can't, he's so stretched out, so thin, and then when you actually do strike, he can't do anything because he's so stretched out thin. I get it. Problem is, he literally made a whole ship go away. So,
He did. He did make a whole ship go away.
dude,
Arguably before he took over control of the Enterprise. But I mean, I'm
yeah,
not
but
really.
still, because I mean, you got to think about, at least this is me. All right, I could try to overwhelm him, but I don't even know if it's going to work or not because he sent an entirety of a whole ship with crew and everybody, and so he had to kind of actually think about that whole the ship and the people and everything, and just send them to wherever he's going to send them
The space cornfield.
to the space cornfield.
The great
There's no other
cornfield
ways to
in the
say it.
sky.
It's just a space cornfield.
Oh, go away.
And so that had to take quite a toll on him at the same time as he's doing, exerting his starting his control over in the Enterprise.
But you can't good
Yeah,
conscience direct an episode of TOS and not let Kirk go fisticuffs at some point.
absolutely. So he's got to
He's got a
do everything he can to get him to a
tough love,
point where he can punch him in the face.
tough love.
Give him that tough love. You shake him on the shoulder and say, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Oh, but
Give him
he
that shoulder.
tries.
Say, give
Yeah,
him that shoulder shake. It's like, come on, what are you doing? Stop this.
and he tries to fight back. He does like the how many times in this series does somebody just blink or push a button and everyone's like, oh, like in pain all of a sudden? It seems to be
And
a
they just
common,
and they just seize up and freeze. Like just
right, right. It's always the same thing. It's
yeah,
always the
and
same
it's
thing.
always the same pose when they bring in everything, and they just it's almost like they have one of those like electric muscle stimulators,
Right,
and it
right.
just right at right at that moment.
That make your biceps pop while you're just sitting there watching TV, and it's
Yeah,
like doing a Bruce Lee. I'm reading a book and working out at the same time, you know.
yeah, do the Bruce Lee. Yeah, we're gonna say it just
Right. But still Kirk's got to get his blows in. But it does confuse Charlie for a moment, and we get the signal come through, which I don't remember where the signal was coming through, but is that when that's when the Thasians arrive? There's
yeah.
something out there. But it's
That's when they get
not
the
fair.
alarm that the ship's closing in, and then they see that it's the Thasians, and they're like, "Hey, all right, so we got this guy here, Charlie. Um, I think you need to take him
Right, right.
because
All
he's
the
he's
Kirk actually
he's
makes a case for him, saying he should be with his own people. He does
yeah,
say that at one point, but this dude
yeah,
here,
because he does say
this
that once he finds out that the Thasians is going to
this
take him,
floating judge head from Superman 1979.
yeah, he's going to take him
Guilty.
and go somewhere with him. And it's like, well, where is he going to go?
We're going to the great
Does it matter?
farmhouse. We're going to the great farmhouse, which just happens to be right next to the cornfield.
Going to the farmhouse is next to the cornfield where everybody's at.
Send everyone to the cornfield. Eventually, someone's going to make you buy the farm.
Yeah, so to Kirk's credit, trying to do what Starfleet does and plead his case. And so, hey, we could, just let us know what we could do. We could, try to do our best to help him, control his power, do everything that we can here, without having to send him to the farmhouse next to the cornfield. But the Thasian said, nope, nah, man, we can't do that. He's just way too powerful. He's way too much. Like,
You know,
because
we
he'd
can't leave
already
him. We can't leave him with you.
he'd destroy a planet or two before he would learn how to control anything.
Leaving Charlie there would be like going back in time to some primitive human and being like, look, this is a nuclear bomb, and your descendants are going to build this hundreds of years from now. But I'm just going to leave it with you since your species technically built it. Go ahead and bang on it. Go ahead and bang on it with wrenches. Have fun.
So, and say, here, and where's the smart one out of all of you? Okay, that's a smart one. Here's a remote to it. You push this button, you can activate it, but don't push it.
Don't push it.
Don't push it. Oh, okay.
Oh no, we don't. We don't do that. No, I don't
Yeah,
think
of
I
course,
have.
we'd
I don't think
never
I
do
have the.
anything like that.
I don't think I have the infamous picture of Stimpy and the red button. Whatever you do, don't push
Don't
that
push
button.
the button.
You cannot put somebody in the room with a red button and say,
I say
even if you
don't
say
push it.
it will
And don't
destroy the
put
entire universe,
yeah, it don't say, this button will destroy the entire universe. Don't
don't push
push
it.
it.
And we're going to leave you and trust you. So I'm out. Have a nice
Say,
day. Don't push the button. I got to go.
really? See,
Thanks. Don't push the button.
that was the first thing immediately we're doing.
But Mr. Thasian, Mr. Q, Mr. Floating Head here,
He
Kryptonian jurist, whatever you want to call him.
he looks at it and he says, essentially just goes, nah, son, we're gonna take him. And there's nothing Enterprise can do, but watch him being taken.
No, you get a very interesting scene at the end too, where all the crew is kind of standing there around Kirk while he's in his chair, and the music is playing. It's creepy. It's kind of it almost to me now that I'm watching these, so many years later, it's like foreshadowing all of the crazy shite that this crew is going to go through,
Yeah,
and it was kind of a somber moment for which this episode had elements of both humor, absurdity, and terror, in my opinion. you know,
yeah. It was one of the rare kind of horror comedies in sci-fi.
kind of, yeah, kind of, and because I wouldn't want
But
to be anywhere near somebody like that.
oh no. But I
I'm
wouldn't
not
want to
even
be
gonna.
near them, but I'd want to be on their good side because, and this is me being petty.
No, you're not being petty.
No, of course not. But me being on the good side, say, hey man, they were talking smack about you. Knowing full well I'm lying.
I see. You're going to be the instigator. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you don't want to
I
just
would
walk down the
instigate, and then all of a
hallway.
sudden, oh yeah, they'd be all of a sudden that they get sent out to the cornfield,
Yeah, you can't
and they
just
have
walk down
no
the
idea
hallway and be
why.
like, "Hi, Charlie," because you're going to be a space iguana before you know it.
Yeah, you know what? You ain't gonna mess with me because hey, I got my friend right here. You ain't gonna mess with me.
No, I got me and Chuck. I got my buddy Chuck here. He's gonna don't make Chuck go full Chuck on you, because that's no good for anybody.
He said, no, he said, it's okay, bro. It's okay, bro.
And
See,
then
I just
I
saved your
have to,
life. I just
then
saved your life just now.
I can't help but wonder too, because one of my first thoughts at this space iguana scene was that some random crew member on deck 12 was like, "Excuse me, Yeoman, why are you sitting in my iguana cage? And what did you do with my iguana?"
Oh, it would be funny. It'd be like the first person that would just be walking down the corridor and see just a iguana there. It's like, the hell did an iguana come from? Because I mean, that would be me. That would be my first question. If I'm walking randomly down a corridor and I just see an iguana just there and nobody else around, it's just an iguana there. I'm just immediately I'm looking around. It's like, the hell is this iguana doing here? Like,
Uh,
is this a prank or something?
why is this lizard here? What is happening?
It's
And
like, this a
I
prank or something?
have to expect that guy to grab a bar of soap and be like, "No one's gonna get my last ice cream bar." Like
Yeah.
space madness.
It's like, it's like,
On second thought, just
and
push
and
the red
maybe,
button. Just push
and
the red
then
button.
and then of course, and as soon as Lee has the first thought of the what's an iguana doing here is like, wait, am I going crazy?
This is the guy who is also charged with guarding the red button. So when another crewman comes in and they see him about to push, like, "No, what are you doing?" He's like, "I saw an
What?
iguana." Beep.
I saw an iguana.
And then the universe destroying button is pushed
Yeah,
and everything comes to an end.
right. It's like I saw an iguana. Huh? Yeah, I saw an iguana.
I saw an
Beep.
iguana. I saw an iguana. Oh, that was right after I saw, or that was right before I saw the faceless woman wandering down the hallway, slowly suffocating to death, while some old lady tried to comfort her. I don't even know who this old lady was. Where did she come from? I mean,
Yeah, so I'm obviously
our
something's
recruiting
going on.
stand, our recruiting standards are way down. If
So
we're
I mean,
recruiting the elderly at this point,
yeah, so I think the best choice is to push the button
just push the button.
because from the past few hours I've seen some things I cannot explain. And the only thing that's going to explain it is pushing this button.
People are lucky I don't have a red button, or I'd have pushed it multiple times. It's like that. What's that TikTok video where like if you push this red button, you'll get $1 million, but some random person will die. And the people in the video are like beep
Like,
beep beep
beep,
beep
beep.
beep 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 beep. Shit. like, like
And then you
you
have
you
some
want
of them,
you want all the money and none of the people.
yeah, and then you have some of them, it's like, so do I, if I hit it, do I get 1 million per person, or is it just like a whole 1 million and there's a whole
No,
batch thing?
it's in the video they specified it's every time you hit the button you get $1 million, but each time you do it one random person dies.
So
Like, okay,
yeah,
just don't get rid of
and this is
everybody.
funny is
Otherwise,
that
that
that's
money doesn't mean anything if everyone in the world is, and you have mountains of money, but there's no people left. What do you need the money for? Just take what you want at that point.
yeah. So it's like, no.
I'm going Will
So
Smith. I'm going down to the video store. I'm picking up some DVDs. I'm going back to my lockdown mansion with all the stuff and
yeah,
things, and I'm going to chill out there. I'm going to chill there
that's what I'm doing.
with my dog.
So I have an above
That's
ground mansion and underground bunker at the same time too.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
And
I'm
what is
exploring all the mansions until I find the one that I want that has all the, I want the secret room behind the library shelf, and I
oh
want the
yeah,
bunker
you gotta
underneath, and I
you
want it
gotta have the
all.
one with the trap doors and the secret passageways and and the and the the flight of stairs going down into the cave and yeah, yeah, you gotta
Absolutely.
the whole nine. You got to have the whole Wayne Manor.
I'm going to Vegas and I'm taking over that house that you sent me that video of, that the Bat House, the Bat Mansion.
Yeah.
Dude, that was crazy. That
Yeah.
was crazy. I mean, everything. I mean, that pool table was slick, and then the pool and the theater room. Oh my God. God, that was
This
awesome.
is
That was
almost
awesome.
it's almost something you see something like that. It's like, I
Can
wish I had a
someone just,
house like that.
I know, it's like you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, these people like this are just so egregiously grotesque with their wants and
But yeah,
desires and money. But can I be egregiously grotesque for just a little bit? A little bit? Can you spare $1 million? I'll make it
yeah.
work. It got 500 billion and gold toilets and
No, because I'm firmly of the belief that everybody should have at least one spot in their house completely decked out to everything that they want, no matter the cost. This should.
Well,
Everyone should.
mine's
Everyone
not
should.
very broke down to mine matters the cost, unfortunately, because I am not a billionaire. But
I would say,
my
everybody should.
office, my office, I've got my
I would
big
say
desk here.
if your whole thing is movies, then you should have, one room in your house dedicated to be like a movie theater
Yeah, no, I
where
agree
you,
with you.
yeah, everyone should,
I agree.
regardless, regardless of how much you get paid or what, it doesn't matter. Because you are here, damn it, you earned it.
No, and now that my middle child has moved off to college and doesn't visit very often, the second bedroom, which was really theirs,
Mm.
is now completely my office and nerd lair. I've got my shelves and
Yeah.
books and nerdy stuff. I was actually pulling out. I didn't even realize I still had these. I was just digging around in my closet the other day because apparently I'm just finding weird stuff. I found like a whole box of like, if you can see that. Oh, come on, camera.
Oh, that's cool.
Let's try this. Let's try this. Let's turn off my virtual background here. And I was yeah, I just like cards, like all these Star Trek cards I didn't even know I had. I don't even know when they're from, like
That's pretty cool.
1991.
That
Oh,
makes sense because that was
Jadzia Dax. Um,
because 91, 80s and 90s, that was during the time when when people make just trading cards for anything.
oh yeah, I mean I've got complete sets of like the Next Generation series in little glass cases or little plastic
Hmm.
cases. I didn't even know I still had. I mean, I literally pulled out all these boxes and just there's so many cards. Some of them are NASCAR cards. Those are going to go in the trash, believe you me. But there was one. I actually used to have two of these. This was pretty sweet. Gosh, I'm gonna have to sit down and go through all these. But my prized possession, I had two. I sold one. Hi, baby. Going out. I'll be with you in a minute. Um,
Yeah, get out.
Darth Vader, signed
Ooh.
by James Earl Jones.
Oh.
I sold my other one on eBay like 15 years ago, and I got $125 out of it. But God, I didn't even realize I still had all this stuff. This is crazy. All Star Wars sets. What is this? This is, I think these are my overflows, but I've got all three prequel movie sets. I forgot I had this stuff. That's just crazy. I'm gonna be doing a lot of cataloging, moving those Star Trek cards into the little plastic sleeves and getting those NASCAR cards out of it. Like what? I was in a NASCAR for a few years. Don't ask why. Oh boy, we we don't talk about that era. That was the mirror universe. Me was over here. Hey, yeah. I don't know that I could
Oh,
watch a NASCAR.
NASCAR.
I don't know if I could watch a race now
Huh.
without falling asleep in the first 10 laps.
When he was I used to work at Time Warner. Most of the guys especially all of the service techs and the installers, love NASCAR.
Oh yeah.
Love NASCAR.
Oh yeah.
And
And I don't know why. I mean, I've been to races, but like any sporting event is great when you go there. You've got all the
yeah,
people and the attractions and stuff, and
I just think
whatever,
they just like to as an excuse to drink.
pretty much.
That that was the only reason being is just they just kind of use it as an excuse to drink. Not like they
And it
need an excuse anyways, just
and
just because it was, Monday
it's
after work.
it's not just accepted, it's expected when you go there.
Yeah. So
And up until a few years, it was all about drinking and flying your Confederate flag. But actually, NASCAR banned that, so you can't even fly those anymore. So good on you, NASCAR. I guess you did
so
something. You still
all
didn't,
right, NASCAR.
the rednecks are still watching, so you didn't lose any of your crowd. But hey, Kid Rock's drinking Bud Light again, so
It is
Nothing
what it
lasts forever.
is.
Nothing lasts forever.
I think maybe Charlie sent them all out to the cornfield. And Charlie must have sent all of them out to the cornfield before they got into space.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a segment of the show we call the mission debrief. And yes, we will get off the rails. We will not stay true to form. But one thing I did want to bring up in this episode, something that I mentioned last week, like with the set piece, is how it feels more like a stage production.
Yeah.
If you go through this series and you watch, you're going to get a lot of scenes in these episodes where there's a character giving a monologue. And if you look at the characters that are in the background, they're all perfectly motionless unless they're involved in the actual scene itself. That's another theater style
Hmm.
type thing where someone's giving a monologue, everyone else freezes to not take away from the one person that's in the spotlight at that moment.
Yeah.
So,
And I get it. I understand that. And that's kind of something that I kind of noticed prevalent throughout the whole series. That is what I can remember is that anytime when one of them was talking, and especially like one of the camera tricks they would always do would be to focus in on whoever's talking and slightly blur out
yep.
the the anybody that's in the background.
Hmm.
I mean, not enough to where it's like holy like how the background is of mine, but just enough to where it's like, you see clearly this is who you're supposed to have your attention on.
Yeah,
And so
exactly.
that's like I said, it's an old camera trick to kind of help
We're
emphasize
going
as
to
to
see,
the importance of what the character is saying.
right. And we're going to see plenty of examples of that throughout the series. So, I mean, again, I think modern Star Trek, like Next Gen and Voyager and stuff, they embraced more of the modern, obviously modern way of making TV shows. It was
Right.
more of
And
a
doing a more kind of a natural interaction and dialogue with them and also background.
versus TOS to me, which is turn-based combat. You go, I go, you go, I go. That's what it
Yeah,
feels like
that's
sometimes.
about right. Yes.
Which is a very, again, theater kind of way of acting. That
Yeah,
this
and
person
which
has a part, then that person has a part, and it goes back and forth.
yeah.
There's no interrupting. There's no.
Yeah, and at the time it worked worked at the time, worked well for at the time, you know.
It
But
it did
then
enough to.
when it went into later on into, in the other series, Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, and rest of those, then it kind of steered away from that to be more of a natural interaction.
Right.
You know, they
But
even
it
though
was
they're
enough to keep us involved through,
yeah.
the series, and then through a very poor theatrical release, motion picture. And then, I'm sorry, the
Hmm.
first two seasons of Next Gen, they're awful.
They
They're
were kind of
awful.
bad.
They're
They
they're
were
they're,
kind of bad. I mean, they're
they're kind of really a lot
some
of
good
bad.
episodes here and there, and like with
A few.
everything, few good episodes and enough to get another season, enough good episodes to get another season, and then for me, it kind of picked up around like the fourth season, somewhere in between like the fourth season of Next Gen. And oh, you stop it.
I have like when I flip on Star Trek, I used to play this game. Like I can tell you, they have the little opening shot before the credits.
Hmm.
When it comes to Next Gen or TOS and maybe DS9, I can tell you what episode it is before the title comes on the screen just by what I'm seeing.
Hmm.
And one thing I used to use when I was watching TNG is if I wanted to watch the episode, just things I look for. One, do they have collars on their shirts? Because in the beginning they didn't.
Right.
If Riker does not have a beard, I'm probably not going to watch it. Um, there's a few
Definitely.
other factors in there, but some of Troy's
And
clothing.
and I get you saving me because Riker without the beard, it just ain't right.
No, no, it's not right. It's not right at
It's
all.
just not right. It's Riker has to have the beard.
But for me, I think it picked up, and I don't remember the name of the episode off the top of my head. The one with where Q introduces the Enterprise to the Borg. I think that was late season two. but the one where he whips him across
Yeah.
the galaxy, and
Yeah.
Guinan's in the episode. And why can't I remember what the name of
Yeah.
that
I
one
want
was?
to say I
Q
think
Who
that
was the
was
name of the
the
episode.
beginning of the second season. I know it was at the start of one of the it's either start the first episode or the beginning of the second season
Yeah, I'm checking
because it was
now.
called the
Q Who is the name of the episode. Q
yeah.
Who. I don't know. No one's telling me what season and episode was. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this? Nope. Website is private. You cannot view. Oh, well, thank you then. Whatever. I don't want to work at your website anyway. And taking my boat, I'm going home. I'm doing it a la Charlie style, going straight to the cornfield. 16th episode of the second season. And I don't know how many episodes they
Mm.
usually did a season. What, about 20, 25? Because you had
24,
seven seasons with 177 episodes.
24, 25. It was like either 24 or 25.
Let's see, 177 divided by 7. Yeah, about 25 episodes a season. And yes, I'm an accountant for a living, and I just had to use a calculator to figure. I'm on the weekend. I'm on the weekend. My accounting brain is turned off.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Don't turn that back on.
So you're not paid to you're not paid to use math right now.
Right, exactly. But that is pretty much a wrap on episode 3 of Nerds of Inquisition, or the rules of, there
Rules
I
of
go again.
Nerdquisition.
The rules of Nerdquisition. It's right there. It's right there,
Right?
Gretchen. Read it.
It's in
The
writing.
the rules of Nerdquisition. I know. I know. Next week, Where No Man Has Gone Before, the actual second pilot, which should have would
The
have
the
aired first, but
the second pilot that should have been the first pilot, but the first pilot was that's
and we're gonna we're
basically
gonna
it's just
gonna start getting into seeing some, familiar faces. I don't know, like I know that next week one of the guest stars on the show is Sally Kellerman. I don't know if you know who she is. She was from like Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield, the older blonde woman.
yep.
She's in
Yeah.
that episode, so we're gonna see her and some other people down the road. But the second pilot, you'll definitely, it almost feels like we regress a little bit when we go to the next episode. Spock does a lot of yelling. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But I don't know why he's yelling. He's emotionless, but he's yelling. I guess you could yell
I
emotionlessly, but
I guess maybe because he's everybody's deaf. I
yeah,
don't know.
but
I
everyone else
mean,
in the bridge, he's like, turn on your sensor probes. Okay, first of all, what is a sensor
said, "Well,
probe?
hey,
Isn't
hey,
that
man,
kind of
look
the
here."
same thing? Sensor probe? Like
So
that's the
no,
same
first
thing.
he was like, "Turn on your system." Hey, hey, look here, man. You're at a 10. I need you to bring it down to a 3.
Right. And he says that like launching sensor probes, and then the helmsman's like launching probes, like real quiet. He's like launching probes. But
He
Spock's
probably
like,
thinking himself,
launch
this.
them MFing probes now. Like,
He said,
okay.
"This sorry son of if he keep yelling at me, oh, if he wasn't 3 times stronger than me, sorry, some of my, oh."
Exactly. Oh, but my final analysis definitely I think again we touched on it. This episode really does kind of hit some DV themes
Hmm.
and what
Yeah, absolutely. And
interactions between men and women, and the misogyny continues regardless from some source. So, but sign
so
of the times, I guess.
yeah, again, like got piggybacking off of what he is, the definitely strong themes of some and it's and we can see just kind of clearly how just how it affects how it affects just teenagers and just how it reacts emotionally, and we see that. And if
Puberty in
us
space
being
is still
smart,
puberty.
yeah, us being smart, we could see that and kind of say, hey, perhaps this is kind of something we all need to address because we see clearly there are people that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s that still act this exact same way. So maybe there's
Absolutely.
something that we should kind of look into.
And it feels to me
But
like this is where Star Trek starts to lean more towards the wokeness. They didn't specifically by name address DV in this show, but it was
right.
apparent.
But yeah, it was there.
Whereas in later episodes, we start actually tackling real issues, be it racism, sexism,
Mm.
misogyny, all kinds of, xenophobia, all kinds
You
of
know,
different stuff.
even going stuff as um drug abuse
Yeah.
or substance abuse, um even with next gen where they got some kind of virus that made them all act drunk, you know, alcohol abuse,
Right.
tackling
Exactly.
things like that, and you're thinking is that how will these issues affect us in the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th century? And don't you think that, by that time we would have figured out how to, you know, have these problems, figured out. So they were either manageable or completely eliminated.
And they're never fully eliminated, even if you're talking about like, next gen era where they're like, we have no money, we have socialism everywhere, everyone gets what they need, everyone is happy and
Right.
all that stuff. But people
But
still
yet
out
and
there,
still, there's
bad
still people
people.
that are out there that, they still do smuggling and they're still, trying to get their credits and, because even though the Federation, doesn't have any kind of currency or anything like that, that doesn't mean planets outside of the Federation adopt that same kind of principle. You know,
No,
Ferengi
exactly.
on Ferengi on the other hand, like Ferengi for one, that if you want to take you and have every capitalist and put them on a planet, that's what Ferengis are.
Ferenginar is the place to go if you're so uber capitalist. But yeah,
Yes.
it's biological organisms. You can have the perfect system, but you introduce the variable of biological organisms, and we will inevitably screw it all up.
Mhm. Absolutely. Because that's just what we do. That's just what we do. If we can find some way to mess it up, we'll find the most efficient and the most efficient way to mess it up and the most sometimes satisfying way to mess it up, just whatever way.
Yep, be it just introducing us to a situation where we screw it up, or if you give a specific person power, they ultimately seek out more power, which will be the theme of next week's show when we get to a note where no man's gone before they changed it to where no one. But still,
Yep.
that's definitely a big theme next week. So, you have any last words, any final analysis that you want to share with us today? I think I covered pretty much everything I wanted to.
Um, I do believe I did so as well, because like I said, Charlie, he was something. And
Yeah,
just the
I mean,
overall just kind of themes within the show as well, just kind of illustrating just, DV and stalking and harassment
the creep
just
factor of 10. I
and the
mean, just
creep factor, yeah.
way up there. Just like,
And just all of those themes and all these situations that, we still deal with today. And quite obviously in the 22nd, third century, they're still dealing with.
yeah,
So maybe
but
one day we'll get our stuff together. And
maybe one day we'll
maybe
evolve.
one
We
day.
hope so. But
But
until
yeah,
then, we've got plenty of Trek to review. So, whoever's watching today, again, thank you for tuning in. As I stated at the beginning of the show, the audio episodes will start going up next week, probably somewhere around midweek. We stream on Twitch live every episode. So those of you that are watching us there because that's the only place that we're live right now. Other than that,
Yeah. Other than that,
that that's the end.
and
Angry, thank you for joining in as always, my faithful number one.
to everybody, thanks for stopping by. Ha
Live
ha.
long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.